Welcome back to the Dr. Melissa Show. We're talking about addiction again. This is our second segment of the addiction series. Last time we talked about addiction to cellular phones and kind of social media and things like that. This time we're talking about addiction to food. So I'm going to review a little bit about what I discussed last time, why addiction is a real thing. So you have a reward system in your mind that's in the nucleus accumbens as part of the basal ganglia involved in reward because it releases neurotransmitters such as dopamine and serotonin when you exhibit behavior that's going to help you survive as a species. So for example, positive behavior related to getting food or water, reproduction, and also it helps to inhibit adverse behavior that can cause pain or danger to yourself. So the dopamine signaling, that process is involved in storing information about the environmental stimuli, which means that different experiences you have can trigger different kinds of memories about how pleasurable or exciting that experience was, and that can trigger you to replicate that behavior. So your body wants you to kind of keep doing things that's going to help it survive and help your species survive. But anything that's going to give you pleasure that can hijack the system can create the sensation of addiction. So this means a behavior that's not necessarily helpful for you, you can still crave it and desire it, but it might not be in your best interest for survival. So this is what we're talking about today, just this addiction process and how we are affected on a daily basis through food. So Dr. Pam Peek is a physician who discussed in her TED Talk how we are affected by an addictive lifestyle by passively doing things without really considering how they may affect us. So as a group, we decided to take up the challenge for a week to give up processed foods and sugars. For food that we normally would ingest, we kind of stopped ourselves and really thought about what we're putting in our bodies for a week and tried to avoid anything that's been processed or contain high sugar. And she says that anything can be abused by the addiction pathway that we just discussed, the dopamine signaling pathway. So this could involve sugar or fatty foods or salty foods. So basically what we did as a group is we wanted to kind of share our experience this week for having to process our decisions in a proactive way and understanding what we're actually putting in our bodies and our selection process when we're eating. In the documentary Food Matters, they've discussed that over 90% of the food that we're exposed to on a daily basis is processed and only about 10% is not. So first we're going to talk about how difficult it was for us to even find food that we felt were not processed. How did you guys feel about, looking for food that you felt was healthy?
I failed the first day. I actually, that morning when I was waking up and making my lunch, had the I wanted to do it and everything, so I made my lunch. It didn't have any processed food, but as I was making my lunch, I realized how much processed food I had in my house, where it was like I literally was just like, okay, I can have this steak that I made the other day, and that's all I can have for lunch because everything else that I have in my fridge right now is processed of some sort. It has sugar in it. It's I can't eat anything else. So I had the intention of going along with this, and then it also didn't help that we had some candy delivered to our office, and there was a jar of it sitting on my desk taunting me all day, so
She broke.
I broke very quickly.
Yeah, it was absolutely hard. Kind of like Megan says, like in the morning, like breakfast or, just having to find what in the world do I have. Now I had to start looking at every packaging I had, turn it around, see if it was packaged, it was processed, added sugars. I'm like, okay, I can't have that. Well, I can't have this. I can't have that. Wow, you realize what you're left with. Like, I had to physically go out and start shopping, like cook. I had to cook. Like, I couldn't get the easy way out. I was like, wow, the only thing left was, like you said, meat. See what you can find, fruits, vegetables, like literally healthy eating is what it was. But I stuck with it, and I'm actually still doing it now, and it's probably been a few weeks. Or a couple
And
weeks
you
or
like
so.
it?
And I like it. I feel better. I didn't realize that I could stay away from it, and I don't crave. I'm a big chocolate eater. I'm a big candy bar eater, but I haven't really done that. I actually crave like eggs and bacon over
Yes.
over candy. Like I really just want food.
Chocolate's actually the reason I failed too.
You
so
caved
it's
in.
chocolate's fault.
Yes, it is chocolate's fault.
I remember we all went to lunch one day, and we went to a restaurant, and because I'd already given up, I didn't care, but everybody else was having such like a hard time like looking at the menu, like, well, what can we eat?
Yeah.
Well,
on
that's
this
like for
menu.
me because like I generally eat pretty healthy. Like I like to work out, I like to eat healthy, but then like doing this made me realize how like even though I do eat healthy and I try to choose like the healthier option, like even when going out, that I was still eating something processed. Like whenever we went to Fuzzy's, I always get a corn tortilla instead of a flour tortilla, which is the better option, but still processed.
And your cheese.
Yeah,
And my cheese, yeah, I could not say no to the cheese. That's when I kind of failed, but like I still kept doing it. I just kind of like gave myself a little leeway there, here and there. But yeah, it was really hard.
It is. It's
How do you guys feel about when you go through a grocery store and anything that comes in a box or a package, and what percentage of the food that you felt you were purchasing and eating before this week's realization or processed?
Yeah.
So for example, like chips.
everything. It's like probably like 90% of my pantry it's all
I was
processed.
gonna say even in
everything
the,
I
like,
have.
if you're going to like the produce section, half the stuff in there comes in a can or in a
Yeah.
a bag,
Produce,
something too.
meats,
So
like,
it's just
yeah.
like even when you're going for the healthier options, you still have to watch out because it's just like, oh, this is in a bag, so, or it's in the vegetable section. It should be fine, and then you like actually read the contents of it, and it's just like, okay, no, it's
Yeah,
not.
but even like meat, like you're going like turkey or you're like, oh, it's healthy, but it's packaged. You see all these additives and added, sugars or salts, and you're like, I can't even have that.
Yeah.
It's
just
hard.
gonna eat leaves and twigs for the rest of the week, I guess.
And I hope that's not not processed. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
How did your bodies respond, like, I guess, right when you stopped all the processed foods, like the first day or two versus like a week later? Because I know some of you said you've lost weight and
Yeah.
felt more refreshed.
Yeah, I probably went because it was almost like a keto kind of diet for me. So it was like the 24, 48-hour flu is what we call it. Mm-hmm. It just made you feel awful, lightheaded. I felt sick. It's like all that withdrawal.
I think if my body could talk, it'd be yelling at me because I'm taking away all the good stuff that it really loves.
Yeah, I felt horrible. But then probably like 3-4 days later, I felt great. I felt perfectly fine. It felt good. I still feel great.
It does make you feel great. It makes you have kind of like a love-hate relationship, though, because there's days that I really just want the fattiest foods out there.
I know, yeah. My family's eating chips and candy and all kinds of fries in front of me. I'm like, really? Like taunting me with all that.
Or like when Megan's like, oh, let's get fries from Whataburger. She's the worst person to be around.
I know, and you have to sit up front with her. I feel bad for you.
Yeah.
You have
Sorry.
to smell it all. At least me and Helen can go hide in the back.
We avoid that. Yeah. But I think it helps even the support.
Yeah.
Having each other just kind of staying aware, saying, hey, by the way, I think that's processed. You might
Yeah,
wanna stay
have
away
the
from
healthy keto girl in the back. You have like the Whataburger fry girl up front. With
And then she's like, you
I'm
want
sorry,
one?
Danae.
So, yeah.
So in the documentary Food Matters, I feel like some of their opinions are a little bit more radical than I would. It's not like I agree 100% with what they say, but they did bring to the attention that there's a huge like control over a lot of our food based on what's marketed to us and how we're passively being essentially victimized by all these things because we can't really all our options, if it has corn syrup, we're gonna be exposed to it no matter what kind of thing. Do you feel that being able to kind of slow down and kind of make a decision on every single thing that you put in your mouth empowers you to kind of make better choices in the future? Just this 1 week, it's almost like a trigger for you to be aware now.
Yeah, I think it actually worked.
It strengthens you because it takes a lot to actually be able to do it and to stick with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be aware because I never really did. And, once in a while you turn around a package, you're like, oh, what's the calories? You don't look at everything. You don't think about it.
Yeah, that's true.
But now
Most
it's
people,
like-
too, don't even have the time to actually do
quick,
it.
quick and easy. Just get the food. Let's go.
Without even thinking.
Yeah, you just.
But I think it was good because, like, it helps people realize that, like, they need to, like, take care of their body, and you don't notice, like, you may be eating something that you think isn't bad, but whenever you turn it around and you're like, wow, okay, this is processed. Well, this is processed. It's like, think about all the stuff that you're putting into your body, that's not, like, actually, like, a whole food that's good for you.
You read the ingredients list and you're like, I can only pronounce, like, 2 of these.
I think it's still healthy.
It's fine, right?
So if you think about it, like everything you put in your body, you're expecting your body to process. You're expecting your liver to detoxify. You're expecting, it's kind of like, your body is this filter for you that's supposed to get the nutrients out of the food. But if you keep putting junk in your body, it's kind of unfair to your body, right?
Yeah, putting it in overdrive.
Yeah, because your body has to work that much harder to even find something valuable in what you're eating. And then the rest, you're toxifying yourself. And so it's going to affect how your body can function later in life when you're older. And it's difficult for us to weigh through our food options because it's so hard to find something that's healthy and exists in nature without drenching chemicals and sugars and cholesterol and salt and things like that we just talked about. So Dr. Peak discussed how there's a new study. She considers it the hottest new science. It's called epigenetics. Basically, what she's discussing is that genetics is playing a role in our behavior in modifying gene expression. What that means is you have the DNA you're born with, and that's called the genotype, but the phenotype is the expression of the DNA, which means just because you have a set of DNA, it's like the cards you're dealt with, but how you play that hand is kind of up to you. So you have ways to influence what's going to come out of that DNA. So she emphasizes that every single decision you make, for example, what you do every day, the thoughts you have, everything you eat, every step you take, everything you expose yourself to changes your gene expression and how your whole body responds to and talks to itself. Responds to the environment and talks to itself. So she actually cited some studies on mice that have kind of surprising results. For example, there are some mice that are born with a defective gene that makes that mouse just overweight. They look big, floppy, and yellow. So what she did was she took these big floppy mice and fed it greens like vegetables, and then they mated all of these mice, and their offspring were lean and skinny and brown colored. So it somehow in this process of the mice eating green and having a better lifestyle, the body decided that the defective gene is not in the species' best interest and basically hindered it from being expressed in their offspring. So their offspring had a much healthier outcome. And this is very significant because it's genetic evidence that gene expression can be affected by environment and behavior. Because their control was other mice that they just didn't change anything. They just fed it whatever, regular food, but it's not necessarily healthy green food. And so what she discussed was the green stuff that you're eating, like vegetables and fruits, things like that. Anything that's wholesome. And if you exercise and have good behaviors, all of these are called methyl donors. What that means is it adds control over your gene expression. Methyl donors will methylate anything that is supposed to be expressed, and it helps you to take the driver's seat in how your genes express. It's kind of nerdy, like what I just discussed, but basically she's saying you have ways to trigger good expression of certain bodily genes and functions that your body may not have otherwise gotten that signal. And she talks about, how addictive sugar is, because they did another study on mice that exposed the mice to different things, such as cocaine. And we all know, like, drugs like cocaine, alcohol, cigarettes, all of them are very addictive. And then she also exposed a separate set of rats to Oreo cookies. And the study showed that the mice were more addicted to Oreo cookies than cocaine. Does that result surprise you at all?
What?
So the
X-nay
the mice
cocaine.
wanted Oreos more than cocaine.
You're like, shoot me up some Oreos. What?
Yeah, like they wanted the Oreo cookies more than cocaine. Like their behavior of just like addiction, like they wanted it and they don't want anything else. Like that was stronger for Oreo.
That's insane.
I believe it because it's sweets. And how many times have you just had like a sweet tooth and you just like, it's like a craving. It's automatically in us to just want something sweet. Even if you don't want it, you're probably like, why does that sound really good to me right now? Like
Very
ice
good. I mean, you're
cream.
salivating. You are just like dreaming about it. You're just like, just a little taste. Just
And at some points it gets so bad you have to go get it.
which is sounds exactly like a drug addiction, like a bad one. Like I need it. I'm twitching. I need it.
I need my chocolate stat.
I need it now. Here, slip me a candy bar under the table.
And then you go to like Walmart or Kroger or something, just go down the cookie aisle, just like have your arm out, like putting all the things in your buggy, and then you can check out.
Actually, thinking of that, think about when you're checking out of a grocery store. After they've showed you everything, you know, you've already gone through the produce. You know how they have everything pretty selective.
Candies bars.
That's
right
all they
there.
put at the end.
Yes,
It's
that
literally
is.
sugar. That's it.
It's
And
nothing
it
healthy.
they always have a good deal on it too. It's like two for like
It's one you
$3
can't
or
pass
something.
up.
yeah, it's kind of like pretty methodical on that. It's true.
You're
They
like,
know
I
what they're
didn't-
doing.
It is.
I didn't want a Twix, but now I really do.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah, they see you're.
Does that upset you to know that you are a victim to this addiction of how much sugar is being worshipped in this society that you live in?
You are. This is literally like you just got drugged up. Vulnerable, like super
Well,
vulnerable.
also too, if you think about it, like people that may not have a lot of money, like processed foods, they make them cheaper than like actually like it's cheaper to just eat processed food than it is to like actually eat like whole foods, because
Yeah.
whole foods are more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a lot of money, you're kind of stuck with like eating junk, and I don't really think it's fair. Like I feel like it should be the opposite way around. Like the good food should be cheaper than like the bad food.
That is very true because for a shopping list to be healthy, you're going to spend way more than what it would be. Just
Oh, yeah.
to be-
Yeah.
Which we realized it.
Yes, we did realize
I
it.
mean, just think of a stereotypical college kid's diet and everything. What is it? Ramen noodles and mac
It's
and
like
cheese?
25 cents
Pizza,
for one
like,
pack of
just
ramen.
little things.
Like you could literally get 4 and you pay $1 and there's like 4 meals for dinner right there.
Yeah,
Or you could just get the
Yeah.
big pack for like $3.
she knows.
See, I wasn't that into it, but I feel you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
like
crazy.
fast food restaurants, $1 a burger kind of thing, and whatever. You don't know really what part of the cow that's coming from.
yeah,
you
you
know.
can't
You have
get
to
a
ask
salad
them.
for $1.
Yeah, right.
Salads are like $7.
Yeah, I pay at least $8 for a salad every time. Good grief, $8 to $10 on a salad. That's
And you guys
pretty
make fun
crazy.
of me for my Lunchables, and I'm like, they were 10 for, 10 for 10. Get them for $1 each.
Yeah, but see, you're right. It's insane. They're making it unaffordable. They don't want us to be eating healthy.
So all this, like the unhealthy stuff, what it's doing is it's changing the way that our cardiovascular system can handle the environment. So it allows plaque to build up in the arteries, and that's causing, it's the number one leading cause of death in the U.S. So heart disease will kill 1 in 4 people in both men and women. The death toll last year was, I think, 600,000, over 600,000 people. Because as your arteries narrow as you get older, that's when you have a higher chance of having heart attack or stroke. The other ones are, angina, heart failure, arrhythmias, different other kinds of things that can trigger problems for your heart and things like that. So, I mean, how do you guys feel about that future? I mean, when you're older, that's what you're looking at. Like 1 in 4 people will die of a heart attack.
Yeah, so you're basically saying, just like in this
of
room
us.
alone, yeah, it's like a lot of one of us, if we keep up with this kind of dieting and process and sugars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm as Lunchables over there. No, but that's very scary. That is not, a future that you even want to think about. That's just insane.
The second cause of death in the U.S. is cancer. It killed over 590,000 last year. So it's only about 30,000 less than heart disease. And that's usually because of uncontrolled growth or abnormal cells that's coming up, and think about all the weird chemicals you're putting in your body. Like you're expecting your body to handle all these weird things, and what if your body, at some point it can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just like Megan was saying, all those, what is it? All the products, all the stuff that's on those labels that you can't even.
All the ingredients where it's just.
But
like,
yet we still eat it, and we
This
just ignore it. We're like, yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, that's scary.
is a spelling bee word.
Yeah.
What's the origin?
So from the knowledge of the addiction and everything else, how do you feel that you're going to change for the rest of your life on how you will treat food? Because it's kind of like, we kind of go through our lives, we're so busy and whatever, and food almost becomes like a secondary or even tertiary kind of priority, because you're just like on the go, let's grab something, pop, soda, whatever. It's all the same kind of junk. But throughout your life, if you just kind of mindlessly go through and just keep ingesting that kind of stuff, eventually someone's going to pay for it, and it's probably your body. And so just knowing all of this, do you feel that you will be able to come up with some kind of self-control long term to overcome addictions that you're kind of confronted with? Because when you're, like we said, grocery stores, fast food restaurants, everything you're exposed to, you have to make decisions on a daily basis to protect yourself for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now still. So I'm still watching everything I'm eating. I'm staying away from processed, and just I like the fact that my family's actually trying to be more supportive, and they're opening their eyes to a few things here and there. Like I took like a recipe like Kate, like, Taylor told me, like, try cauliflower, do mashed potatoes out of that. I'm like, that's
So
just weird.
good. If y'all have never heard of that, it's really good.
Yeah, I tricked my family. My husband knew, but my kids knew nothing. And I made it. And they were like, I just told them, it's just extra creamy mashed potatoes. They loved it. They were like, this tastes a little like kind of like a broccoli, but it's amazing. It's so good. They didn't know, but after they found out what it was, they're like, yeah, we can eat this more often. My daughter appreciates, more grilled chicken here and there, like different foods that I'm making. And they're being more conscious about it. Like they're paying attention to what I'm doing, and I'm trying to instill it. And I think it's been good. It's hard, because sometimes I don't have a clue what to make for dinner. Just grab a pizza, make something. Yeah, like you said, it's just too easy to just grab that. But I'm trying. I mean, I'm gonna be 40 this year. I don't know, I made it halfway. So I like to live a little longer if those statistics are gonna be what they say.
Hey, I went to the grocery store last night, and I went to the produce section and the meat section, and
Awesome.
I was done. I didn't even stop at the cookies, I promise, or the chips.
I feel like that helps too if you go to the store. Like for me, I go on Sundays and I'll get my groceries for the week, and then like that's your food for the week. So it's like if you don't get any of the bad stuff, like if you can make it through the store and at least check out and leave, then like you don't have any of it in your house. So then the only way for you to get it is for you to like go out of your way, and like whenever you're already tired from work or whatever, you have to drive to the store and like go get the junk that you want, or go to like fast food or whatever, whenever you could just like sit at home and like make something quick,
Well, you meal prep, that helps.
Yeah, I do.
You're ready for the week. I should do that. That comes in handy, but
It does come in very handy.
And I noticed that some of you mentioned family support and things like that. For example, like we did it as a group, because I think it would be harder for individual to try to overcome this on their own without any kind of social support, because everyone around you is just eating junk. Then you're just going to be kind of sucked into it, kind of thing.
Kind of like Danae with Megan up front. She was like, I'm going to fail because Megan.
Yeah. Danae's like, I'm doing great. Thanks, Megan.
Sorry.
So some of the tips you're giving our listeners is, don't even get it from the store. Just kind of stay away from those aisles, which is most of the aisles in the store.
Yeah.
And then kind of have people around you who are going to support you in this, because if they're eating unhealthy, you're probably going to get sucked into that behavior as well. So so in the podcast, Dr. Peak also discussed a good example of overcoming all this addiction and things that we all have to work on. So Betty Lou Sweeny was a 72-year-old, 250-pound lady. Just like, there's a lot of people out there that's a little bit overweight on the older side. She was laying in ICU about to die. She was on 26 medications to help control her health, her blood pressure, all these things that she couldn't do on her own. She couldn't get from sitting to standing without going out of breath. And in that moment, when she's in the ICU, she felt like she was going to die. And she had an epiphany, and she felt like, I'm still young. I'm 72 years old. I still have years ahead of me. I'm not ready to go yet. So she decided mentally to take major change in her life, take every addiction she had out of her life, which means all the sugars and processed food that we just talked about. And she started to change. And soon she lost about 115 pounds at the age of 73. So if you think about 72, she's 250 pounds, 73, she's 115 pounds lighter. So now she's weighing about like 130. And then she also held the female Guinness World of Record for the longest time for abdominal plank. She was able to do that for 36 minutes.
Holy, what?
So most of us can probably do that for 30 seconds and we'll probably collapse. But
2 minutes is as far as I've gotten.
Yeah, I've got like 2-3 minutes. That's dying.
And that's hard.
And that's dying.
Yeah.
Like feeling I was dying.
So for a lady who couldn't even get out of a chair just a year ago, and to break a Guinness World of Record for a abdominal plank for that long, I feel like that's very inspirational, because she has proved that you can overcome your addictions, you can overcome your so-called genetic expression, and live a much healthier lifestyle just based on choices you're making. So the two advice from the sources I cited are, from Food Matters. That's just one of the many documentaries that they have out there on how food is processed in this country and what you're exposed to in your grocery store and in different restaurants. It's just kind of bring to the attention that you are what you eat. So make it a priority. Food should be a priority. So if you're, whatever you're spending your time on, how you're shopping the food, how you're preparing for the food, how you're eating the food, that should come on the top of your list, because that's how you're energizing your body, and that's how you're feeding your body and taking care of yourself. And yourself should be a priority for yourself, basically. And the second advice is just understanding that the real wealth is health, because as you get older, it doesn't matter how much money you have. If your body is failing, you're going to try to exchange all the money you have to get that body back, and it will be too late. So it's better to kind of know now that if you have your health and you can control what you eat, you're just that much more ahead of the game.
You're listening to RNCN, the digital destination for premium talk radio.